Welcome to the CYF course dedicated to give you an overview on preparing and leading an event. It is spread over 3 video clips. In the first one, we focused on how to give birth to a dream or an idea and how to gather a team and define the framework. In the second one, we will focus at the main task to achieve before, during, and after an event, and then have a closer look on what needs to be done before the event. In the third and last one, we will see what is to be done during, at the end, and after an event. Ready? The idea is to give you practical examples too, so you will see several slides appearing to your screen. They are not here to be copied, but they are to give you an idea, and you can of course adapt them. We will not cover all the details, and many other things could be shared too. If you want to know more, do not hesitate to download for free the KKI Outreach Leaders Manual that you can find on our website. It's very detailed. So, let's have a look at the main tasks for the leaders to achieve before, during, and after an event. Before the event, the first things to do are creating a time frame. It will help you to keep on track and not to do all at the last minute. There are enough things to do at that point. Define the outline of the schedule. At this point, only the broad strokes are important. When does the event starts and finishes? Where would be the big pieces, time together, meals, special events, just a big overview. Creating a flyer and/or registration form. You can choose from a very detailed flyer with the vision, objectives, prices, location, dates, as you can see on the slides, or to a shorter one with the registration form included, as you can see now, to even a more sober one, kind of save the date, with an address to go to for more info and sign in. Start finding the adequate facilities and work on the budget. It's very important to try to evaluate as precisely as possible all the expenses and to find ways to cover the cost of them through incomes. Ask the Lord to lead you in that too. Don't be afraid to take steps of faith as a team, but be consistent and do not accept others to cover for your loss. During the event, it's important to prepare the daily meetings with the leadership team. To lead the event mainly by overseeing and be sure that we keep track with the vision and with the objectives. Take care of the well-being of the leadership team and nurturing unity so that it can be modeled in all the other teams. I remember that during one camp especially, we intentionally work on that. And we really take care of honoring one another in our team and be very careful on how we speak with one another, how we behave. When I was coming back for the afternoon session, someone has prepared my coffee. I know that in the morning it was more difficult for another person to get up, so I would just help him and make him feel comfortable, just trying all these kind of things. And it was amazing because during the feedback time, people told us, we have been so touched on how you behave as a team. and it was an example for us. Of course, during the event, it's important to deal with the situations of conflict, even if we can, to work before the conflict when we feel some tension, to go and try to speak together. And also important to think how we will say thank you to the different persons, and not do it lightly, but just to process a little bit during the event. And yes, at the end and after the event, because there are two different things, at the end, of course, leading the feedback times, including the one of the leadership team. At that point, the global idea of the event is set. We know what, when, where, and for whom, even if it's not very detailed yet. So it's the time to define more precisely the roles of everyone in the various teams, including the leadership team. Over the years, I have personally found helpful not to decide the roles in the leadership team right after the first meeting, but to allow people to have the broad overview of the event and not seeing it through the lens of a specific job to achieve. But at that point, the leadership team needs to be fully committed. It may be that, and it's the last chance, I would say, for people, if they don't feel comfortable with the direction that the event is taking or with the team, they realize they are not at their place anymore. It's the time for them still to leave. After, it will become more difficult, of course. It's always possible, but if it happens, release them and bless them, of course. And it's the time to follow up with the various areas of service, developing teams of staff with enough people to cover all the needs. On that slide, you can see the list. It's a pretty full list. Depending on your event, you may not need all of them, but it covers pretty all you can find in an event. Food, of course, meals and snacks. The media, how do you want to communicate with the external people? The discipline management, how will you cope when someone is not behaving properly? What is your strategy? Most of the time we don't think about it, but it's so important. I remember that, since the beginning we decided, of course, that our camp were for non-smoking camp. And we always had teenagers and adults smoking. Instead of just putting them in the corner, saying, yes, but be discreet when you really have to smoke, we decided to ask a staff to go with them. And it was a great opportunity. So they have a corner, and there they can meet together and with that staff, and they could speak. And he was not there to say, it's not good what you are doing. I mean, it's not very efficient. But just to share hearts and to take this time as a special time of communication. But what you can have, of course, other things and disciplines. For example, when children or teenagers are not falling asleep and making noise in the night, how do you deal with that? What is your strategy? It's so important to think about it before and not when it's happening. What about the people that will MC some part of the events or be the spokespersons? There is a difference between MCing, being the master of ceremony, taking decisions, and you can have spokesperson that will speak out the decision of the MC. In our camp, we like to have younger ones and preteens and teenagers being our spokesperson because it's creative, it's full of fun, but they will not take the decision if it's time now to stop the meeting or to stop the worship time to enter another part of the program. This is really the MC that is doing that. We have, of course, all the housing, cleanup, the advertisement. If we are partnering with some people, churches, like-minded ministries, the administration, we may have some age classes like the 0 to 4, 4 to 7, 8 to 11, 12 to 18. How do we cope with that? How do we get organized? The first aid, we may have some coaches that will help in some areas. Of course, the finances, we could put that in the administration. All the people leading this plenary session when we are all together, or the special events when, for example, we are going out or for a concert or doing some things in the streets. A team that will be focusing on listening and prayer for people. They are not professional counselor. They are more an hearing ear and an open heart to receive and to share the load and to intercede with people that need it. Transportation, all the technical aspects, how to deal with the facilities, what room for what. Hospitality, especially if we have a speaker or special guest or birthdays. A prayer shield covering, people that are praying, either that are with us during the event or at home and praying from where they are. All these things need team according to your needs. Preparing a schedule of the event and refining it with details whenever things are clarifying. It may be useful to create several versions of the schedule, one with all the details for the leadership teams and another one with less detail for the participants. Linking with the partners, churches, ministries, local authorities, media, all of that is important too. And of course, preparing the confirmation mail. It will help you see if you are still missing some details. Like, do the participants need a sleeping bag? Or how will they pay? Working on the confirmation mail will help you to take decisions and to further organize the event. Defining the space allocation, what room for what, preparing the door signs, and also to work on the check-in procedures. You may wonder why I had it on that list, but for me it's so important to welcome the participant in a nice way. You know how it is when you have to pack and to get ready, you travel sometimes for many hours, and you reach a place that you don't know, you don't really know the person you will be with, you are discovering the place, and the first impression you have is so important. And it's important to create this document, and you will probably realize that some details need still to be worked on. And as in a soap opera, we will stop right now before the D-Day. Take a time to answer some questions appearing on your screen, and we meet again very soon for the third and last clip on that theme.